Hey everyone, this is Derek, and in this video we're looking at algebraic expressions. I'm going to start with a little bit of vocabulary, and then most of the section is going to be kind of translating words to math, but not actually trying to solve anything, just sort of getting used to how the language will look. So first, let's run through the definitions. Vocabulary, we got algebraic expressions. An algebraic expression is just some combination of symbols and operating symbols, variables, numbers, etc. They don't have equal signs, so they're not something where we're solving. It's more like if you have a plus b, that's an algebraic expression, or a plus 7, that's an algebraic expression. Substituting a value into an expression, calculating the result is called evaluating expression. So let's say I have this expression, let's say I say a equals 3, I plug that in and I get 10, that would be evaluating. When we add two numbers, the result is called the sum. So just addition. When we subtract two numbers, or when we subtract b from a, the result is the difference of the two numbers. So difference goes to subtraction. When we multiply two numbers, the result is called the product. So if I say 2 times 5 equals 10, the result of that is the product. And then if the numbers that are multiplying, those are called the factors. So if I asked, what 2 times 5, when we multiply, that's 10. If I ask what are the factors of 10, that's 2 and 5. So it's kind of going the other way. And we'll run into factors a lot. And then division is going to be called quotient. The result of that is a quotient. So let me show how some of that works with some examples. So for this first example, we're just given a word phrase and then asked to translate that into an algebraic expression. So the sum of x and 7, so as long as you know that sum means it's the result of an addition problem, then we're all set. So we can just say x plus 7. We're not solving anything, it's just an expression. B is 11 divided by y. So 11 is going to be the numerator and it's being divided by the y. So that would be the denominator. 435% of k. So remember, to do math with percentages, we need to change the decimal. So I'm going to bring my decimal over 2 places. That'll make 4.35. And then remember from that percent review, is almost always multiplication, generally is multiplication, k. D is the difference of t and 5. So that's going to be a subtraction problem. So t minus 5. Z more than 14. So Z more than 14 would mean I have 14, and then I add Z more onto that. So like 3 more than 14 would be 14 plus 3, so forth. 12 is reduced by, oops, that should have an X. I fixed it in the notes, but not there. So 12 is reduced by X. So that means we're starting off with 12 and we're taking off X. It's reduced by this amount. Okay, number 2, we're writing an algebraic expression for the area of the figure, include units. And then they're saying recall that area for this would be length times width. So basically, if this is length, this is a width, it's just asking us to go 8 times b, which we could just write as 8b. Area, so something in terms of units, if we go inches times inches, what we're getting is inches squared, or square inches. And that's going to be a unit of area. When we're doing perimeter, that would just be, in this case, it's inches again, but that would just be plain inches because it's a unit of length rather than measuring area. So this would be square inches, and I think it's a drop-down menu that you get to pick which one. And then this one is not for the area, I have a typo in there, but for the perimeter of the square. So remember, perimeter is 4s. So the perimeter would just be 4 times that length, m, and then that one would just be straight inches because we're measuring just how far around rather than an area and counting out the little square inches in the area. So number 4, for the problem below, write an algebraic expression in terms of x. Daniel and Laura together made $1,000. So Daniel made x dollars. How much did Laura make? Okay, so I'm so tempted to I write D plus L equals 1,000 because that's how this first sentence reads. But they're asking us to find Laura, not write the expression quite in the order of this. So we know that together they made 1,000. And so 1,000 minus however much Daniel makes is going to be what's left over for Laura. So if they made 1,000 together and Daniel made 200, then that would mean Laura made 800, right? So 1,000 minus Daniel, which we're told to call X, would equal the amount that Laura would earn. So that would be our expression. A student spent $650 on tuition and books. So if she spent X dollars on books, then how much was on tuition? It's the same basic problem. 650 together, she's spending X on the books, and so then what would be left is tuition. 37 children signed up for summer camp. If X boys signed up, how many girls? Again, so pretty much the same thing. 37 total, we're letting boys be X, and so then the leftover amount from that would have to be girls. So if 10 boys signed up, 27 girls would have been present. And then lastly, a certain pesticide contains 0.02% by volume of a dangerous chemical. Write an equation for the amount of chemical C, capital C, and as you're entering things in the computer, if it tells you to use a capital, it's totally case sensitive, so be careful to type that. So write an equation for the amount of chemical C that enters the environment in terms of the number of gallons, lowercase g, of pesticide used. So basically we got like this vat of pesticide, and then 0.02% of that is a dangerous chemical. We're trying to figure out how much that little part of it is that is dangerous. So we would be going, we are using this chemical is what's going to enter the environment, and gallons is our total amount. So our percent would be 0.0002, right? Because I'm moving 2 places on the decimal, and then that would be times the number of gallons present. So then 0.02% of this is how much is in the environment. And then how much chemical enters the environment if 500 gallons of pesticide is used. So this is where we're evaluating. So we're told that G is 500, so we'll put that right here. And then throwing that in the calculator or doing it out, you should get C equals 0.1 gallons.